Yo, what's cracking, fellas? Wig Split in the hizzy. Now today I'm gonna be talking about a couple games I'm really hyped for. And as you can tell by the gameplay, I'm gonna be doing a nice little fighting game that you're watching. So clearly, one of the most games I'm hyped for is gonna be a fighting game. And now you should know by now, MKX is coming out here in a couple weeks, and I'm super hyped for it. Mainly, I've watched every character reveal that's came out and watched all their fatalities, watched tons of gameplay on it, and everything just looks to be so solid, so hype, and so fun that I don't see how I can't be hyped for it. This including, as you can see, me playing Injustice. I got really into Injustice, and you might be asking, well, why Injustice while Mortal Kombat? Well, NRS, which is NetherRealm Studios, made this DC game Injustice, and another game I'm really hyped for is a DC game that's going to be coming out soon in the summertime, which is the new Batman game. So these two games are the most games that I'm hyped for this coming year. Mortal Kombat going to be coming out here in a couple weeks. I'm super hyped for it. Now, I rarely ever, actually I shouldn't say rarely ever, I've never ever pre-ordered a game. Never. It was something I've never done as a kid, and growing up to my adulthood, I've never done. If it was a game that I was really hyped for to come out, well, instead of just pre-ordering it, actually what I did was I would just go to midnight release and get all the perks anyway, so it never was a big thing to me. But more so, I would rarely even do that. That's only happened maybe like, 3 or 4 times, most ever. Normally, I'm a guy that wants to read reviews. I want to make sure I know what I'm getting. I want to make sure it's a quality game before I give some company money. And now I'm willing to bet, the $60 plus, gonna probably get the combat pack as well. If this game coming up, Mortal Kombat X, is gonna be a solid game. Now it could be wrong, it could be broken, could be unfinished, but it was already delayed. I shouldn't say delayed. They took a lot of time to polish it and make sure everything was good. So I know that they're feeling good that this is gonna be a solid product. And even when Injustice came out, there was no real problems with it being broken or anything. It was just, there was balancing that needed to be fixed, which makes sense. Pretty much every fighting game that comes out, you're gonna find certain characters that can be abused and can definitely just have more of a, an exploit that you can take advantage of versus other characters. With Injustice when it came out, clearly the top tier character from the vanilla before any patch came out happened to be like Scorpion. Scorpion, if you first played it, he was just insane. One of the things was he had the teleport, and instead of in Mortal Kombat when you hold the trigger to block, teleport you would have to hold back. So the teleport coming to the back would totally mess you up. It became such a problem that you had to deal with. Plus, he had lots of mix-ups. So he was a really strong character, and they kind of nerfed him going on. And it ended up being like Superman and Black Adam. Those ended up just being the two top-tier characters that won like every tournament when the game first released. And they ended up fixing that and kind of nerfing them a little and buffing some other characters, and it just went on finding new characters. Now it's been said after really nothing's been nerfed or changed much after the past year. The top characters were like Martian Manhunter, Batgirl, Zod, and Aquaman. Those characters, all of them, were just complete beasts. And when I first played the game, I didn't get it on release, but I got it like a month after, and I got it because I was looking for another game to play with my friends. I never got into Mortal Kombat so much, the first one, MK9, and reason being I wasn't into fighting games that much previously. Now, keep in mind, growing up as a kid, I'm 29 years old, I saw Mortal Kombat from where it started to where it became today. I remember being a little kid and seeing the original Mortal Kombat in an arcade mode and just seeing the characters, how they looked, and I was just thinking, man, they look like real people. Keep in mind this is like the old version, which kind of now looking back on it looks crap, but I was like a 7-year-old seeing that, and I was just like mind blown by it. And it continued to carry over, with, Mortal Kombat like 2 and 3. I just thought that it was such an intense game. And I played those as a little kid. I remember trying to get like the blood codes and all these other, trying to learn the fatalities. And the only way you could learn actual moves and special codes was either from a friend that knew it, or, you would have to get like a Game Genie, or even just looking up all the stuff on a magazine because there was no internet back then. I think there was even a hotline you could call that, was a 900 number that charged you mad cash. I never actually did that, but I've heard people that have. And so I never really like got competitive into it. I was just a guy that like spammed the special moves that I knew, which mainly was like Luke Kane because he had the easy like forward, like, punch, forward, low punch, doing like the fireballs as well as like the dragon kick. He was a really simple character that carried over through on everyone. So he was just character I was really good with just because I knew his special moves. But with that being said, I didn't think he was realistically the best. He was just probably the one I was best with. And I had no concept of, like, how to block or play defense, how to, mix stuff up and just, how to open people up. I was just, nothing on a high level is what I'm saying. So continue on to, like, when I first started playing, Xbox 360 on Xbox Live, I was a guy that played Madden. That was, like, the first stuff I played because I was a big football head, and I still am. I love football. However, I don't play Madden for other reasons because, the game is just, to me, a broken piece of crap. However, back then, like this is like 2008, 2009, I was playing Madden all the time because I just thought, I loved football, and it was what took me, back to playing football when the offseason was going on. So I would play it nonstop, and I kind of learned how to 1v1 people and realizing that, it's mainly about being able to read people, being able to, execute. Those are the two most important things that are in a 1v1. Being able to read what your opponent does and to execute, and how to, just counter what he's doing. And that's even more so in fighting games. If you have a good read on a person and you can execute quality moves and, punish them well, you're going to do well in these games. And I even liked it more once I found out about how quality these fighting games are because there's so much balance to them compared to like, Madden, where there's always like one team that's better than the other and so on and so forth. So again, I didn't get into Mortal Kombat 9. I played the story mode and I probably played like 10 online matches with my friend, and my friend, this was years after the game came out. He was just more high quality player than me, and so he whipped my ass, and I just kind of had no reason to play it anymore because I was getting my ass kicked. It was like, yeah, what a waste of time. So I ended up getting Injustice early on to when the game released, and then I found a character like Aquaman, he being one of the first characters I got into. And I just kind of, progressed, and I learned, and I ended up watching, like, tournaments, finding out that there's a fighting game scene, and realizing more and more about how fun that the scene is. I really like the whole fighting game scene. People that do YouTube on fighting games are actually, a lot more entertaining people that don't have as much, like, raging asshole problems as, like, other people that, like, for like the Call of Duty scene or something. That for every good one, there's probably, like, 10 bad ones. Yeah. With Injustice, I just kind of progressed, and my fighting game skills kind of, leveled up a lot. Now I'm getting ready for the new Mortal Kombat game. I haven't played Injustice for like, 6 months or so, and I went back to it recently yesterday playing my friend. We both just wanted to get into it and have some good old matches, and this is what became of it. We probably played for like an hour and a half, and I just recorded a few of my good matches, and I put them up to show you guys that I'm still getting in there. I still have the ability to do things. I know that this isn't like a high-level play. This is definitely like mid-level. It's not a horrible play, but my execution isn't spot on. I drop a lot of combos. My defense isn't great. And again, I went back from a Xbox One controller to a 360 controller, so I'm still a little rusty. But, I didn't do too bad. I definitely had a lot of fun playing it, and it just kind of reminded me how quality of a game that NRS puts out. And so I'm really hyped for the new one coming out. I like the characters between the old and new that they're doing. They're introducing a lot of new characters, so it looks a lot of fun. I'm hyped about. And on top of that, they're doing like a combat pack where they release, 2 characters such as like Predator and Jason. A lot of people are super hyped for Predator, and rightfully so. It looks like he's a badass character, I know. But me personally, I might be one of the few that's super hyped for Jason. Growing up, as you guys might know, I'm a horror guy. I loved horror movies, and I actually probably grew up on Friday the 13th the most. I remember when Freddy vs. Jason came out, everybody was like on Freddy's side. I was one of the few guys that wanted Jason to fucking murk it all. Just because I looked at Freddy like, a little bastard that went after kids. And one of the problems I had was he talked too fucking much. I mean, I would just be like, watching the movies, I'd be like, just shut the fuck up, Freddy, and kill him. And Jason was one of those guys that didn't say anything. He would just come in and chop your head off with a machete, and I was all about that. Just the silent slasher type. Now he is a big guy. He's probably going to be a bruiser type character, and I'm totally fine with that. I do like getting in there with some of the bruisers. When it came to Injustice, I really liked like Grundy and Bane. Those two characters I thought were a lot of fun and really unique. And so I'm really hyped to try to play him, try him out. I am going to go and get the Kombat pack as well. I know it's like $30 to get like the extra 4 characters, because there's also Tanya and Tremor as well, and plus you get 3 skins for each character for other characters. So it seems like a decently good deal for $30. On top of that, like I think right now I saw on the Xbox store, instead of it being like 60 plus 30, which obviously equals 90, now they're having a deal. I think it's like $81, so I could get it for $21. Save me a good amount of money, which is a total bargain. So this might be the first game I pre-order ever. So I'm super hyped for it. I'm probably gonna do that. I'm also hyped for the new Batman game coming out. If you guys haven't seen any trailers on that, I highly recommend you check that out. The game looks hyped as well. Super stoked for it. Might be the first 2 games in a long while that I buy on the first day. Obviously, the other game that I was hyped for this year was Hardline, that already came out, and I'm playing it. Check out my channel. You'll see me do a lot of work on that. I appreciate you guys coming by. Hope you liked the video. You guys are pimps, son. This is Wig Split. Over and out.